Thursday?
Yes.
They try their best.
We do.
Something's obvious, blatant, raises suspicion, they're gonna act.
Right. Yes, sir.
So even with the example of the pen, if it did catch their attention, they're gonna react, right?
They are. They're going to ask.
Did you have any involvement in the decision that was made to have this individual trespass from the Wesley Chapel office?
No.
The body camera that you've tested, the one that you said is in use in Gulf Harbors,
Yes.
have you ever been able to replicate a scenario where it's flashing red light but not recording?
No.
No further redirect.
You're saying that about your specific body cam, not mine.
No, I don't know.
Okay, very good.
What do we got for this witness? You have another witness or one more witness? Corporal Neil Zalman. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Corporal Zalma, were you previously sworn in?
Yes, sir.
Can you please state your full name?
Neil Zalman,
And where are you employed?
Pasco Sheriff's Office.
What is your position with the Pasco Sheriff's Office?
Corporal on patrol.
How long have you been a corporal?
Just under a year and a half.
What positions did you hold prior to that?
I've been patrol my whole tenure. I was field training officer and just deputy.
So as a corporal, what are your duties and responsibilities?
I'm in the Wesley Chapel and Lakes area. I oversee and supervise other deputies on my squad and respond to calls for service.
Did you respond to such a call at the Wesley Chapel Tax Collector's Office on February 2nd of this year?
Yes, sir.
Approximately what time?
It was 3:04.
And what was the nature of the call?
It was a trespass complaint.
When you arrived at the Wesley Chapel Tax Collector's Office, who did you first make contact with?
JohnFilax.
Okay, the appellant in this case?
Yes,
Did you take a statement from him?
I did.
Did you make any observations about him?
He had paperwork in his hand and the body camera that he has here.
Where was he wearing the body camera?
Yes,
Okay, and this is outside the building, correct?
correct.
During your conversation, did he acknowledge to you that he was recording?
I don't recall.
After making contact with the appellant, did you then proceed to interview the witnesses from the tax collector's office?
Yes,
And did those employees of the tax collector's office represent to you that the appellant had violated their posted policy?
yes,
And that is regarding video recording, is that right?
correct.
Did you observe the tax collector has that policy posted at the property?
Yes,
Where did you observe it posted?
at the entryway on the wall and then on the door.
And those are the photos that were previously admitted into evidence through the last witness?
Correct.
And did the staff of the tax collector's office request that based on that violation that they observed, that you issued written trespass warning to the appellant?
Yes, sir.
And specifically when I say the staff, did Mr. Jeffrey Gentry make that request?
Yes,
Did the office manager, Amy Polk, also make that request?
yes,
As part of your job in these type of investigations, would you weigh the strength of a department's policy, whether or not it's good policy?
no, it's not my place.
Are you an attorney?
No,
Would you weigh the legal merits of a policy?
no,
So if somebody-
Objection. What's your objection? If if he's a law enforcement officer, it doesn't weigh the legal aspect of their policy. So if their policy said no black people, he would still trespass in this.
It's not a valid objection, that's an argument.
Okay.
If somebody came to you and said, hey, the tax collector's got an unlawful policy, I want to challenge it, would you be the one to make the determination in that?
No.
That essentially be a civil matter between that person and the tax collector?
Correct.
Okay. So after taking all those statements on the 2nd, did you return to the tax collector's office on February 8th to obtain written statements?
Yes, sir.
Is the written statement something that's required before you can issue a formal trespass warning?
Correct.
Okay. And I just want to obtain the written statement that's in there. Sure, it's already been admitted into evidence as Exhibit D. Was that a written statement that you obtained from Mr. Jeffrey Gentry?
Yes, sir.
And was that written statement what you used to initiate the trespass warning?
Yes, sir.
To actually have someone authorize that you write the trespass warning? That was a yes?
Yes, sorry.
Did you collect written statements from any other witnesses from the tax collector?
Yes.
So based on the complaint that the tax collector's office made, as well as the written statements that you collected, did you then proceed to write out a trespass warning to the appellant?
Yes, sir.
And was that a trespass warning for the Wesley Chapel tax collector's office?
Yes.
The day that you collected those written statements, that was the 8th, is that correct?
Yes.
So this incident occurs on the 2nd. You did not write the trespass warning until the 8th?
Correct.
Why wait 6 days?
I had to wait till I got to obtain the written statements.
But after obtaining the written statements, did you write up the trespass warning?
Yes.
Did you, on that same day, attempt to deliver the trespass warning at the appellant's residence?
Yes.
Were you successful?
No.
Why not?
No one answered the door after numerous attempts.
Did you then proceed to mail the trespass warning via certified mail?
Yes.
And what was the date that you mailed it?
The date, the 12th.
Did you also have phone contact with the appellant on the 12th?
Yes.
During that conversation, did you indicate to him that you were trying to serve him with the trespass warning?
Yes.
Did you mail it before speaking to him or after, if you remember?
I don't remember. I don't recall that.
Placed in front of you, Corporal, what's been pre-marked for identification purposes is Exhibit L. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the trespass warning.
Is that the fair and accurate copy of the trespass warning that you mailed to the appellant via certified mail?
Yes, sir.
Moving to evidence is L.
Yeah. Correction.
Go ahead.
Be admitted as Johnny's L.
Does that conclude your investigation in this case?
Yes.
No further questions.
Take 10 seconds to get a drink of water.
Quickly, please.
Thank you, thank you. How are you, sir?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you again.
Likewise.
You were a nice guy that day. Let's see. Are you policy enforcement or law enforcement?
Law enforcement.
Were you enforcing their policy or the law?
I was enforcing the law.
Which law?
The criminal trespass.
And what's required in order to criminally trespass someone?
Objection in that this was not a criminal trespass, it's county ordinance, trespass warning, and it's also, it's asking him the legal question. Ultimately, if we were,
You did not you weren't trying to issue me a criminal trespass warning?
It was actually the county ordinance trespass warning, as the attorney stated.
So what are we saying? It's not criminal?
Right.
What is it?
It's trespass warning, meaning that county has an ordinance that allows you to be trespassed from county property for certain reasons. And that determination is made by the office that's asking you to be trespassed.
So if I were to go back on the property after the trespass warning, what would I be charged with?
Trespass after warning.
Not criminal trespass?
It is criminal.
That is
So it's criminal trespass if I go back.
Correct.
But it's not a criminal trespass warning.
No, it's county ordinance warning.
So you're not warning me that if I go back, I'll be charged with criminal trespass.
I am.
You are warning me of criminal trespass.
After the fact, yes.
Okay. What evidence did they provide to you that I was recording?
The video, well, the written statements.
Outside of that. Outside of that.
That was it.
The only evidence you have is their hearsay testimony.
Their a testament of what occurred, and then I obtained video surveillance that was presented here, and that was it.
What video surveillance did you see?
Not surveillance, the recording. My apologies.
The recording from his personal cell phone?
Yes.
Okay.
That was
What did you see there?
Just interaction between you and Jeff.
Jeff or Zamora?
Jeff, and he was recording.
Zamora was.
Yes.
And I was speaking to Zamora saying, here's my
Correct.
court order.
Right.
And when you first showed up on the scene, where was it?
Parking lot across.
Across a public road on a different property, right?
Correct.
So I did leave the property.
Correct.
Okay. And only after I came to speak to you. Did I call the police on them?
Yes.
I did call the police. I called for you to come help me
Correct.
because I believe Jeff was being disorderly.
Correct.
Right. And did I file a criminal complaint against Jeff later on?
Yes.
Under 83705, right?
Yes.
Okay. So has anything been done about that?
It was investigated and it was unfounded.
Oh.
Not my investigation, the other deputy,
Who did that investigation?
Corporal Hill.
And am I supposed to get the results of that, or?
I'm not sure how.
Okay,
what
so-
if he notified you or not, I can't speak
So
of it.
you have no personal first-hand knowledge if I was recording or not.
No.
You're taking the word of these people that were testifying up here who contradicted themselves over and over.
Correct.
Okay. You swore an oath, right? Constitution?
Yes.
Okay. Does that come into play when you do your job?
Yes.
It does. Are you familiar with the Constitution?
Yes.
And is free press one of the people's constitutional rights?
Yes.
And when do you believe that could be limited?
objection.
Sustained.
When determining trespass, does the law have to be broken?
Does the law have to be broken?
No.
No.
No law has to be broken?
To criminally charge him, yes.
What about the warning itself? To
No.
remove somebody?
No.
So, if you trespass someone from McDonald's, it's the same thing as if you trespass them from City Hall?
I can't answer that. I'm not sure. City Hall. I
So you don't know if
I
there's a
don't work-
difference?
I don't work. I work for the county. I don't enforce City Hall.
Forget City Hall, any government public place. Is it the same rules as a private business?
More or less when policy is broken. So for us, the same documentation.
Let's say I'm in McDonald's.
Right.
McDonald's manager calls you guys. I want this guy gone. Do they have to give you a reason?
No.
I'm out of there, right? It's a private property.
Correct.
I gotta go.
Right.
Doesn't matter what the reason is. Right?
Correct.
Now, is that the same for a public building?
No, there's stipulations and policies.
Right, they have to have a good reason.
Correct.
Do you believe somebody's perception and feelings is justification to remove somebody from public property who's doing legitimate business?
Okay.
Sustained.
Why would that be sustained? On what grounds?
You're not, there's no foundation for what you're saying. You're asking to speculate.
He
The
just,
testimony is that there has to be a basis, but the
Yeah.
basis is based on the ordinance.
the basis is there's different rules for public property than there is for private property.
Right, one of those is violating policy. So all that,
Do you mean according to 66159?
yes.
Why is no other law heard in this matter? I don't get that. Why is every other law ignored except for 66159?
Because you were trespassing under that one. That's why we're doing.
Correct, but there's laws and case law that say they can't do that.
They can't do what?
Remove you from public property outside of some law being broken.
It's not law. There's a list of things that one of those is policy being broken.
Yeah, you have to be disruptive or something.
That's not what it says. It says policy.
You're talking about 66159.
Yes.
So what about Article 1, 24A and B? That doesn't apply?
It does.
Okay, that says I
And
can,
that would challenge, you would say that this 66157 violates Article 1 is how you would challenge that.
here in this court?
No.
Oh.
Circuit court.
Okay, so that law doesn't apply here.
I'm not saying it doesn't apply, but that's not what we're here today for. Yes. Yes, I guess I am saying that.
That law doesn't apply in this court.
I don't know if it's not that it doesn't apply, but we're not here saying that this is a violation of the Constitution. We're here today for this hearing, it's what's administrative hearing, and I'm an attorney, not a judge,
Mm-hmm.
this is the county ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm supposed to determine whether they apply this county ordinance correctly. Whether this ordinance, when it was passed, violates state statute or violates the Constitution.
So if that ordinance says no black people, he's fine trespassing someone for being black.
If that's what this said, then yes.
Oh,
I don't think that I think it would have been immediately, the lawsuit would have been filed the second it got passed, but that's.
sir,
not-
if the policy said no black people, would you enforce that policy?
Sustained,
You just said yes, that if the policy says it, he can enforce it.
that's not what I said.
I'm confused.
I said we're not here today to challenge this law. This has been in place and no one has challenged it, right?
I'm challenging it twice now.
Not legally, you aren't.
According to you, according to the Constitution says I can.
No, not according to me, according to the law and how it's done.
Which law?
You're challenging this trespass warning, right? That's what you
And
filed.
I'm also challenging their ability to enforce their policy.
No, that's not why we're here today. I tried to tell you that last time. If you want to,
So if they wrote no black people, the cops can
that's not
enforce
what
it.
we're here for.
You're saying whatever they write as policy, the cops have to go by that.
Yeah,
So if it said no black people, the cops would have to go by that.
I'm not going to speculate on that because there would be a lawsuit immediately. It would never get enforced because there'd be a lawsuit.
Sir, regardless if there was
Not
a,
gonna speculate.
regardless if there was a law or a lawsuit immediately, doesn't make it any more lawful. So again, I ask, anything they write in a policy, you'll enforce as a trespass?
Objection.
Sustained.
Will you, how can I ask that differently?
Speculation.
Huh?
It's speculation. You're asking to speculate.
Did you trespass me based on their policy?
Yes, coupled with their statement.
Yeah. So if their statement was, our policy says, no white guys, and they attested, our policy says no white guys, would you still trespass me? Or would you say, whoa, 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 whoa?
You don't have to answer that.
Why would he not have, I don't get it.
Because you're speculating again.
But he just said he enforced their policy along with their statement.
He's not challenging, though, it's not his place to challenge the law.
It's not his place to uphold the law and obey his oath?
Challenge their policy.
So in other words, whatever their policy says, they have to go by.
Yeah, there's checks and balances.
Right.
And if somebody passes a law.
So unless somebody sues,
yeah, that's how it works.
they will trespass black people, if it's written down.
I never said that. I know you.
Sir, you're saying their policy says no First Amendment allowed inside their lobby. If their policy said no toddlers, no red shirts, no hats, can they still be trespassed for that?
If that's what their policy said and it hadn't been challenged, then yes.
So that would go, so the same thing, so the same thing would be no speech, no religion, no blacks. It's the same thing. There's one right guaranteed under the Constitution.
That's a fair question because you're asking him to make a determination based on the law.
He made a determination that
His
day.
job isn't to make that determination.
Did you make a determination of me trespassing?
How trespass warning works. They say you violated a policy. The ordinance says that if they say you violated a policy, you can be trespassed. That's all.
Regardless of what the policy says.
He doesn't even have to know what the policy says.
Regardless of what the policy says.
Right.
Correct. So even if it says no black people.
I'm not speculating that.
Okay.
I know
You just said regardless of what the policy says.
Right.
Right. So if it said no black people, he'd still trespass somebody. Is that correct?
Don't answer that. Just sustain your objection further.
Because it's so ridiculous, right?
It is ridiculous.
Right. So is violating somebody's free press rights. Is it not? Why is that held to a lower standard?
Yeah, it's not. If it was violating them. I don't know if it is or not. I know that there's certain time, place, and manner restrictions that are appropriate.
And what are those, sir?
Supreme Court.
What
It's
are
not
those?
for me to determine.
So the time, place, and manner restrictions are during open hours, only in places open to the
They're
public.
not specific like that. That is not. There's not a set list. That's not how it works.
How does it work?
It's what a reasonable court determines to be reasonable.
Okay, so based on their policy,
So you can record in there. You just have to get permission ahead of time. That's what was testified to today. Did you ask
that's
permission?
discriminatory.
Did you ask permission?
I wasn't recording.
I'm just, have you asked?
Did I ask permission to not record? Is that what you're asking me?
Asked permission to record?
I don't ask permission to exercise my rights, no. That would negate the whole Constitution. Think about that. That would negate every Bill of Rights.
No, so you're telling me there aren't reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions?
There are.
So how do the two not co-exist?
Smith v. Cummings, you're allowed to record individuals in the course of their government employees in the course of their duty. Article 1, 24A and B, you're allowed to make copies of records and or public meetings with an official that have an objective record, no matter the form or
Do you
fashion.
think those are the only specific instances that time, place, and manner restrictions can be put into place?
No, there's a whole slew of different ones, but again, they're making policy up out of thin air.
But you have to have a specific, in your opinion, is you have to have a specific case to cite to.
As far as what?
As far as the policy, there has to be a case the court ruled on for that.
Not necessarily a case, but there has to be some type of violation. Gathering info and if I go over here and record and he's on his phone texting, that's a private conversation. It's not illegal to capture that. It's illegal to knowingly take it and publish it for.
They didn't charge you with that.
Huh?
They didn't charge you with taking that and doing something with it.
But they're saying that's what I did to be removed from public property.
No, they're saying that they have a policy in place because they have an obligation to protect the information. How they chose to do that is put a policy in place. You can't record without prior approval.
A policy that violates the law.
That's your opinion.
It's not my opinion. The courts have ruled. Smith v. Cummings, Article 1. I can go on and on and on. Fordyce v. Seattle.
You should have sued the tax collector in the circuit court then.
I should have sued the tax collector.
In the circuit court if you believe the policy is unconstitutional. I can't make that.
Sue the tax collector in circuit court. Okay.
basis that you believe the policy is unconstitutional.
Can I hire you can I hire your law firm for that?
No.
Why is that? Conflict of interest?
Well, that would be a conflict, because.
Just like this whole
I'm
hearing.
supposed to be a neutral party, hearing both sides. If I represented you, I wouldn't be.
Is there other lawyers in your firm that
Yeah.
I can hire?
That's not how the law works. If there's a conflict, it's imputed to my partners.
So your whole firm would have a conflict of interest?
It depends on the facts, honestly, if you want to know how it works. It depends on how involved I would be or not be in the type of situation, but likely there would be a conflict.
All right, so Mr. Zalva, basically, you're a middleman. They put you in the middle of this crap. You don't deserve it. You were nice to me. You were professional. I could tell you're a pretty stand-up guy from what I can tell, so far anyway.
Do you have any?
I'm thinking. You're going solely based on their written statements. What date did you turn in the trespass to the county attorney?
What date?
Yeah.
Did I complete it? Is that what you're asking?
No, what date? You got to send one copy to me, one copy to
That would
them.
have got sent off that same day, the 12th.
Same day?
It would have, yes.
100%?
It would have started that process, yes. I don't know if they received it that day. I can't.
How did you send it to them?
It gets filed through our records.
Someone else sent it to them?
Yes.
So you don't really know when it got to their office?
No.
No, okay. Do you know if it was within one business day?
I can't answer that.
You don't know?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, brother.
Is it fair to say, well, your duty in issuing a public trespass warning, is it ministerial in that it's essentially it's the other agency that initiates it, and you process the paperwork?
Correct.
That's the only question I have.
So you're just a middleman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Yep.
Any other witnesses?
County arrest.
Mr. Felix, it's your turn to testify. It's your
This
turn to
is
take
closing
part.
argument time?
Huh?
Thank you, sir. This is closing argument time?
Not just closing argument, because you didn't go on the case, so to speak.
So-
You can testify.
Testify as to what happened that day?
Yourself.
As
You
to,
can tell me the facts.
as to what happened that day?
Is that what that happened?
Okay, so,
Give me a second.
yeah.
You can then call other witnesses if you needed to. 'Cause You
Mhm.
mentioned you might, but I think that witness was called.
May I ask who this gentleman is? You just a
Observer.
spectator?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're not part of this at all?
No,
You weren't there or anything?
no.
Okay, all right, sorry about that.
I'm gonna say it's open working policy, I guess. so.
Yeah. I was just wondering.
And then you can make legal arguments to me like you've been wanting to do.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna hear all those out.
Yes, sir.
And then if you testify, Mr. Bounty can ask you questions.
If I testify as to what happened that day,
Yeah.
and I'm required to answer his questions?
Let me ask you this, did you take the oath earlier?
No.
Are you not gonna take an oath?
I wasn't asked to take an oath. When did this even happen? I don't remember this.
You stood up for it. I noticed you didn't put your hand up, and you didn't.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah, then, yeah.
All right, well then let's have her swear you in before you testify.
Go ahead, sure.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So you agree that you were bound by the penalties of perjury today? If you give false testimony because you're under oath in the proceeding?
Does that go for all the witnesses?
It does.
Okay, very good.
I'm asking if you agree to that.
Do I have to agree?
I just want to make sure it's clear that you know you're under oath.
I'm under oath. Yeah, that's
If you're
fair.
asked a question and you lie, you can be charged with perjury.
And I only have to answer questions if I give testimony. Otherwise, I'm just going to make a closing argument.
You don't want to testify?
As to what happened that day? I'm not going to be examined by him, no.
You don't want to bring in any facts?
I gave it all to you, what happened that day.
Well, then that's consider testimony, I guess.
All right.
Not
Yeah,
yet, but-
I would make the argument that through his cross-examination,